5, we told you in the 4 o'clock hour, Spence is out against Pacquiao. Ugas steps in. So, again, if you were looking for Pacquiao and Spence, that signature opportunity on Spence's career, a career-defining potential win over the legendary Manny Pacquiao. Let's just put that to the back burner. Unfortunately, he's off the card after a retinal tear was discovered in his left eye. Now, I want to get into what transpired over the weekend in the Maestre and Fox bout, because we're at the point now with boxing where it is just, it's like breathing. It's like waking up every day, the sun rising and setting. The horrible officiating, the bad scoring, it's routine. You can't go a weekend at the fights without the nonsense. You can't. And we saw it again Saturday night. In a fight that Fox clearly won, clearly dominated a kid who had a handful of fights under his belt. Forget about the fact all these interim, these titles, the WBA, which I'll get to in a moment. Mykal Fox dominated Maestre. Dominated this kid early on. And then you watch as the fight continues. And then you watch after everything's done. You're sitting here waiting for the decision. And in my gut, there was a part of me that said, Fox is about to get screwed. And once again, we know, scoring in boxing is subjective, right? Everyone still talks about the De La Hoyas and the Whitakers. How many years have I spoken about Hagler and Leonard, right? But what we witnessed over the weekend, where you had one judge who, for some reason, well, we'll get to the reason, or we think, inexplicably, Martinez Rizzo somehow scored it 117-110 in favor of Maestre. And then we learn through social media that she has tweeted out racist tweets. And the WBA decides we're going to turn a little bit of a blind eye. We're not going to worry about that first. We're just going to let it go. Which we cannot have that, Gloria Martinez. We cannot allow that, Gloria Martinez. Can't have it. Won't allow it. So for Martinez Rizzo, to card that 117-110, then you dig up her past and how she really thinks. Then that basically she's in bed with the WBA. This kid never stood a chance. He never did. He never did. And it goes deeper than just being screwed on the scorecards. It goes deeper than not having a fair shot. He flat out won the fight. I don't care if his name was Smith, Ramos, Gonzalez, Johnson. I don't care. I don't care what color his skin is. I don't care what his ethnic background was. He won the fight. Clear as the green grass right outside down the shore. And you took it away from him. You took it away from him. Look, there's been bad scoring in boxing. But again, he outboxed, and he more times than not outpunched his opponent round after round after round after round. What do we look for when we're scoring a fight? Ring generalship. Sometimes we're looking at quality over quantity. Dictate the pace. Get behind that stick. Get behind that jab. That's what he did. He did everything he needed to do. The kid boxed brilliantly. And it was a foregone conclusion after the bell sounded. Final round. I'm sitting back and I'm watching. And then here you go. The scores are being read. And you're like, hey, they're good. You did. Unanimous decision. Nope. But this is boxing. Let's go the opposite route. I just can't. I can't. And then we had to, listen, we've seen this. The kid from Trenton Bunch got robbed too. You know, I love the fact too, you know, and I've gone back and forth with people on this on social media. You got some people, and I've had this issue before in the past with some ring announcers because you're being paid by their promotion. So God forbid you can't say the friggin' word robbery. They're so sensitive, Susie, out there, but call it for what it was, a travesty, a robbery, a disgrace, an embarrassment. So Gloria Martinez, right, at Gloria Riz, hey, WBA, congratulations, she was the Judge of the Year in 2019. What does that mean? And how about the WBA, right? I tweeted at them nonstop. I DM'd them. Of course they were going to be silent. Because all I wanted to know is someone going to talk about a rep commenting on the scoring? Why? Because it's a hot topic. Why? I think it's fair that someone goes on the record in regards to the methods behind that scoring. Or be interviewed and go on the record to justify the decision last night, or the other night, I should say. And we can scream from the mountaintop. We can. And talk about how the scoring in boxing is subjective and how we have to hold these guys accountable, the judge. I've said it for years, and I'll keep driving the point home. And I'm not sure what needs to be done here, folks. But this is, to some extent, it's fixable. And I don't believe they're going to overturn the decision, by the way. But again, you've had a brilliant performance by one of the nicest, humblest, talented kids in the sport of boxing in Fox. And how is this kid recorded? He's rewarded because he gets completely screwed. And it makes a guy like me, who is extremely passionate about the sport, loves the sport, covers the sport, broadcasts the sport ringside, talks about the sport on the radio, which is a rarity, I can't defend it. Monitor these judges. Question their scoring. If horrible scorecards continue, suspend them. Suspend them for 6 months from calling any title fights. If there's zero improvement, you suspend them for a year. And then if after the year you've hit them in the wallet and they still cannot figure it out, they're still completely inept, irresponsible in their scoring, you ban them for life from the sport. And you put other judges on notice. And the fact that, you have to have an independent commission that does this. And you have to investigate the WBA because, when you got judges in bed with the WBA, then fighters don't stand a chance in hell. They don't. Or any other organization for that matter. And we can scream from the mountaintop. And we can continuously talk about the inept scoring, no accountability, one of the worst decisions in recent memory. And we can rail against the WBA, the sanctioning body that oversaw the bout. Fine. We can get on Martinez Rizzo. Fine. Because it was an egregious scorecard, right? You got zero credibility with me. You're not competent. You don't know what the heck you're watching when you're watching a fight. Okay? And now you got to deal with your how you really think as a human being, as a person in real life. You're a bad seed. You're a bad apple. Sport doesn't need that. We don't need that. Society doesn't need that. But that's nor here nor there. When someone deactivates or deletes their Twitter account, folks, I got news for you. You got called from under the carpet. We called you out, and you start to disappear, right? The ones that face up, the man up, they own up. What do? They run towards the fire. The cowards, the chicken, you know what? They run away from the fire. It's exactly what she's doing. And credit Mark Ortega, Fox Sports Line producer, because a member of Maestre's corner has ties with the WBA. Ha! What do you think about that? Corrupt? Rigged? I mean, come on. You cannot make this up. And it's ridiculous. And oh, by the way, thank you, El Presidente, Gilberto Jesus Mendoza, because you finally issue a statement promising to conduct an investigation. Oh, okay. Who is going to oversee that investigation? So you're going to basically police yourself? No, I don't think so. I don't need to see a rematch. Fox dominated this kid. Please. Enough of this nonsense. Hire outside, I don't know, you want to call them a commission, a panel, whatever. People that know the sport, that protect the sport, that have no agenda, that aren't going to push a narrative and hold the judges accountable. Sit them in a room. Why'd you score it like this? What were you thinking? What did you see? Who paid you off? I don't know. I don't care. Say it to them. You can't have fighters that are busting it and putting it on the line, not have a chance in hell before they even step into the ring. I don't care if it's a journeyman fighter. I don't care if it's a gatekeeper. I don't care if it's an opponent. I don't care if it's an amateur fighter. I don't care if it's an Olympic fighter. I don't care if it's a male fighter. I don't care if it's a female fighter. They all deserve a shot once they get in the ring. And what the boxing world, in this sense, in this regard, did to Fox over the weekend is the powers that be, the holier than now, decided you don't have a chance in hell in winning this fight. So then why in the world does this kid want to get up and then continue to train and deal with this nonsense? Go ask Dave Tiberi when he got screwed years ago. He subsequently retired because he couldn't take the corruption anymore. And I think Fox is a mentally tough kid, and he'll see it through. He'll see it through. He's 25. He's got a long career ahead of him. But what about the Tiberis of the world? What about those fighters that when they get screwed, they get so despondent that they say to themselves, I don't want to do it anymore. And that's the sad thing. That's the sad state of affairs. And it's got to be cleaned up, folks. It's got to. And I'll continue to scream and shout from the mountaintop because I'm going to protect the sport. And I know people don't like when I say the word robbery or corrupt. And I don't really care. Deal with it. Suck it up. That's my body shot. I'm going to continue to talk about it during broadcast. And it's probably going to rub promoters the wrong way and sanctioning bodies the wrong way. But guess what? We call it the way we see it. All right, good stuff on a Tuesday. Appreciate Johnny Mac checking in with our Football in the 20s segment. Tomorrow, we'll do it again right back in the saddle. Busy show. Rothstein in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to sprinkle in some fighters as well later on this week. Larry Henry on a little soccer and some futures, a little NFL talk to boot. Big series starting tonight for the Phillies against the Dodgers. We'll recap everything tomorrow. And don't forget, we expanded the show. So you get us Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. As always, I'm Rich Quinones. Be safe, be sound. We'll talk to you mañana. Hasta luego, buen día.